What if the best X-Men show wasn't the one you remember? Wolverine and the X-Men is an underrated gem from Marvel Studios, and easily one of the boldest takes on the X-Men yet. After a mysterious explosion wipes out the Xavier Institute, Jean Grey and Professor X disappear without a trace. The team falls apart, until a year later, when Wolverine decides it's time to step up and pull the X-Men back together. There's no origin story here, no hand-holding.
It's not home. Not when you're gone. Which is most of the time.
The show throws you right into the middle of a world that's already falling apart, and it just works. The writing is tight, the stakes are high, and it mixes classic and modern X-Men storylines into something that feels completely fresh. Instead of falling back on Magneto, the story focuses on the fear and hatred mutants face with the MRD, Senator Kelly, and the emerging threat of Sentinels. Relationships like Cyclops and Jean, Wolverine and Rogue, and even Kitty and Iceman feel genuine and already lived in. So without further ado, let's begin. Inside the Danger Room, Shadowcat and Colossus are training. Colossus gets caught between two hydraulic presses, while Shadowcat laughs it off. However, a tentacle drops down and grabs her. Colossus breaks free and watches Nightcrawler teleport up to her and taunt her. Colossus destroys a laser gun, but is picked up by a large electromagnet. Nightcrawler boasts that he is about to win when he is covered in a sticky goo. With the three of them captured, they see Logan in the control room. The extra hard secession was a farewell present from him. Logan leaves the Xavier mansion with a bag and waves goodbye to Jean Grey, which angers Scott. Logan spots Beast, who informs him that Rogue is not too happy with trying and seeing him leave. He goes to talk to her, but she is just upset and leaves. Logan walks up to Professor Charles Xavier and Aurora Monroe when Charles starts writhing in pain. Charles sees Jean in pain too. Logan runs up to him, but something explodes. Logan wakes up a year later resting near his motorcycle and a tree. He had been reliving the events in his dreams. He gets up to see several RVs drive by, one with a little girl in it. He waves to the girl and leaves on his bike. He follows the RVs to a crossroad, hears a train and a squeal, and sees an explosion but drives the other way. In his rearview mirror, he sees smoke rising up but seemingly continues on. At the train wreck, people pull a man and woman out of the RV that was hit. The couple are put down, but they wonder where their daughter Erica is and figure she is still inside. The father tries to go back in, but an explosion knocks him down. Logan shows up and heads towards the wreckage. A rescuer tries to stop him, but he goes on ahead with his claws out. Logan cuts his way into the RV and sees the little girl from before. Just then, the whole thing explodes, and the two are feared dead. The parents are being consoled as rescuers dig through the wreckage. They move one piece to find the mutant and the little girl. She seems to be all right and runs up to her mother. The rescuers notice that Logan is alive, though badly injured. The father, Randy, tries to help and has to convince some people to do so. One of the other guys from the RVs, Carl, turns Logan in to the Mutant Response Division. Apparently, Logan has been wanted by the MRD and Carl took notice. Randy decides to move Logan so the mutant hunting group won't find him. Randy and his family load Logan and his bike into Chris's and Jillian's RV and take him to their home, while Carl angrily watches them leave. Randy's wife notices Logan already healing. Erica asks him to wake up. Logan does so, but then flashes back to the day of the explosion at the mansion. Logan saw Charles struggle with a sudden, extreme pain. Charles glanced over to find Jean also in pain. Logan made his way to Charles, but is caught in an explosion. As the dust cleared, he woke to find his clothes and the surrounding area in ruins. Several of the students were limping away while Scott desperately searched for Jean. He found Aurora near a blast crater with Xavier's wheelchair lying in the center. He wakes up in the present and, freaking out, pulls out his claws. He is in a girl's bedroom with Erica standing next to him and puts his claws away. She hears a phone ring and leaves since she's not supposed to be in there bothering him. Logan overhears her mother is talking to someone who apparently is upset that they are keeping a mutant in their house. Logan hears a helicopter and sirens outside. He looks in his bag for his uniform. Just then, armed soldiers break into the house. The soldiers go upstairs and find Erica's room empty. Carl apparently turned them into the MRD. Neighbors watch as Randy and his family are arrested for harboring a fugitive mutant. Just then, Wolverine appears on the roof. He jumps down and attacks several MRD agents, so the helicopter with Randy and his family takes off. Wolverine tries to jump on, but it goes too high too quickly and he misses it. The MRD agents capture him in a net and spray knockout gas in his face, apparently doing the job. The net flies out of the cloud of gas, followed by a very angry Wolverine. The rest of the agents take off in another helicopter, but Wolverine throws the knockout gas into the chopper. The chopper crashes on Carl's RV and Wolverine walks away. In the MRD headquarters, several soldiers walk past captured mutants in cells to Randy and his family. A colonel man with 3 claw marks on his face asks them to tell him about Wolverine. Erica denies any knowledge, but the man knows better. Logan arrives outside the ruins of the Xavier mansion. After sniffing around, he uncovers an elevator shaft and uses his claws to slide down. He sees a light on in the ruined hallways and finds Beast hard at work in his lab. He sneaks up and surprises his blue friend. Since the disappearance of Charles and Jean, Beast hasn't gotten out much as he hasn't had much to do, but neither has Logan. Beast has analyzed the ruins and can find no trace of anything linking the explosion to any person or group, but is determined to figure it out. Logan then tells him why he's there. The Mardis have gone too far and are capturing non-mutants just for helping mutants. He wants to break the family out and wants Beast's help. Beast refuses, telling him to go find the others, but Logan doesn't know where anyone else is. Beast then agrees since Logan rarely asks for help. Outside City Books in a MRD truck, the agents inside are trying to track a mutant with some busted equipment when Wolverine shows up and knocks them out. The truck drives towards the MRD headquarters with Logan driving. He captured Beast and is taking him to a holding cell. They convince the MRD gate guard to let them by and enter the facility. Upon entering the garage, the guards open the back to find Beast unshackled. They pull out their guns and tell Beast to freeze. Beast tries to reason with them, but Wolverine comes up and knocks them both out. Wolverine sends Beast to find the prisoners while he takes care of the guards. MRD guards take Randy away from his family to a separate room with a special chair. He is strapped into a sensory assault helmet, which is used for information gathering. The man with claw marks demands to know about Wolverine. When Randy refuses, the man then turns on the device. Beast wanders through the halls and bumps into a guard. He has no choice but to knock him out. Beast then uses the computer in the room to find the cell block. Randy is returned to his family in their cell when the man with claw marks threatens to torture Erica. Beast and Wolverine arrive and grab the man and knock him out. Wolverine straps him into the torture chair, telling him to leave the family alone, then turns it on and leaves. Beast deactivates the force fields and releases all the captured mutants. Together, they all leave. Wolverine starts up a helicopter while the rest catch up and flies them all out. All of the guards start shooting at them, and Wolverine asks if any of them can torch a hangar. One mutant, John Allardyce, happily obliges and asks Boom Boom to light him up. Boom Boom creates a set of energy balls and John manipulates them into destroying the hangar. However, the MRD do get 2 VTOL jets off the ground to follow the helicopter. Wolverine sees them and believes that fireballs aren't going to bring them down. Boom Boom asks Dust to do it. She turns into a pile of dust, flies out of the helicopter, and clogs the engines of the 2 pursuers. The man with claw marks walks outside to see the mutant attacking. He and Wolverine spare each other one glance before the helicopter leaves. Later, Logan is seen with Randy and his family at a cabin in the mountains. He says that the Mardis will lose interest in them in a few weeks. As he leaves, Erica hugs his leg, asking him to stay. Logan has to since he must go home. Logan waves goodbye as he rides his bike away. Logan returns to the mansion ruins and enters Beast's lab, only to be surprised by the big blue furball. Logan asks where all the mutants they freed went, and Beast tells him they all left. He then says that the MRD won't stop and the cells they emptied will be filled again soon. Logan states that the both of them know what is going on. that a war is about to come and the results will be gruesome. Beast agrees with him, then asks what they will do next. Logan proposes that they reform the X-Men. 3 more mutants appear: Avalanche, Domino, and Quicksilver. Avalanche uses his powers to create a rift in the street, sinking the cop car below the surface. Quicksilver runs up and tells the police to give Senator Robert Kelly a message that they, the Brotherhood of Mutants, won't be stopped and that they are coming for him next. Later, Kelly makes a speech in a park while holding up the newspaper article talking about the Brotherhood's threat on his life. Nearby, Warren Worthington II is trying to get his son to join in. Warren III feels that it is bad enough that they give Kelly money and does not want to hear him speak. Kelly then talks about mutant registration being only one line of defense. He then unveils the Sentinel Prowler, a large robot designed for hunting mutants. Kelly asks for the Prowler to be shut down, but the MRD guard cannot seem to do it. Kelly looks on in horror as it apparently attacks the crowd. The Prowler crushes several cars and walks right by Warren III and his father. Rogue runs into a nearby alley with the Prowler in hot pursuit, now shooting laser beams at it. Try as she might, she can do nothing to get away from the Prowler and becomes trapped in a dead end. Just then, she looks up to see Angel. He throws a rock at the Prowler, quickly picks up Rogue, and flies up again. However, the Prowler shoots his wings, and he begins to fall. Before he lands, Beast jumps up and grabs both Angel and Rogue. The Prowler closes in on the 3 mutants until Wolverine jumps on its back and begins slashing away at it. Angel is glad to see the X-Men back together, but Rogue is quick to point out that they're not. Logan then uses the Prowler's own laser to destroy itself. With the danger past, Rogue leaves and Logan follows. Beast asks if Angel would like to come back. Warren II found out his son was a mutant, but that doesn't mean he likes mutants all of a sudden. Angel is the family's dark little secret, and if word got out that Warren III joined the X-Men, or any mutant group, Warren II would cut him off. Right now, Warren III helps out through his money. Beast accepts and lets him be. When the MRD shows up, Angel leaves. Logan follows Rogue, trying to convince her to return, but she refuses. She doesn't want Logan to abandon her again, so she won't follow a leader who's never there. With that, she walks away, leaving Wolverine and Beast alone again. Back at the park, Kelly is talking to Warren II. Kelly worries that he will lose support for the Mutant Registration Act. Warren convinces him to announce that the Prowler program will shut down permanently so Kelly can focus on the Brotherhood. His plan is to trick the Brotherhood into reminding people why registration is a good idea. That night, Rogue is wandering the streets when Toad walks up behind her. Toad tries to mug her and slips off her glove, so she grabs his tongue and knocks him out, giving herself a long tongue in the process. Avalanche and Blob walk up behind her, and Quicksilver and Domino come up from the other side, trapping her. Rogue prepares to fight, but Domino instead sends the men away so the ladies can talk. Rogue doesn't want to be associated with the criminals, but Domino reasons that they're fighting for those who can't fight for themselves. Domino wants Rogue to join, since the Brotherhood don't abandon their own like the X-Men. She then asks Rogue to just hang with them that night to see what it is like to get results. In a rundown hotel, Scott Summers, who has obviously not kept himself up recently, watches a news report about Kelly making a press conference from an undisclosed location. When his remote stops working, he simply blasts the television set. Logan busts in and berates Scott for letting himself go just because Jean Grey disappeared. After a brief argument, Scott blasts him out of the room and across the street. Quicksilver runs into Kelly's mansion and finds nobody. Quicksilver then tells Avalanche to destroy the house. Rogue protests, but the Brotherhood destroy it anyways because if the Registration Act passes, it'll be our homes that get taken away. Toad then finds Kelly's car and decides to steal it. At a red light, Quicksilver decides to let Rogue drive. Just then, a MRD truck pulls up next to them. Rogue warns them not to do anything stupid, but Toad spits on them anyways. Rogue then speeds away and the MRD truck follows. After some high-speed chasing, more trucks start to follow. Rogue drives into an alley and Avalanche collapses the surrounding buildings so the trucks can't follow. Warren II watches a news report on the Brotherhood escaping after destroying an entire neighborhood when the mutant team crashes through his wall. The Brotherhood wants to know where Kelly is, but Warren II refuses to tell them. Rogue takes off her glove but is surprised to find Warren III there. who recognizes her. Blob knocks Warren III out, and Avalanche forces Warren II down. Rogue begins to have doubts about what she is doing, and hesitates to absorb Warren II's memories, but Domino forces her to. After Warren II passes out, Rogue states she knows where Kelly is going to be. In Beast's lab, Logan tells Beast that he recruited neither Rogue nor Scott. Beast found several of the X-Men. Kitty Pryde moved in with her parents, but when they started to get harassed, she just disappeared. Peter Rasputin refuses to leave his family again, and Bobby Drake's parents refuse to let Beast talk to him. So the X-Men currently consists of Beast, Wolverine, and a stolen MRD helicopter. Warren III enters and informs them that Rogue joined the Brotherhood and that they plan to take down Senator Kelly. Logan proposes to stop them. The Brotherhood stand outside a manufacturing plant owned by Worthington Industries. Apparently, this is where Kelly is to have his press conference. Outside Bobby Drake's house, Beast is trying to convince them to let him talk to Bobby, since he is 18 years old. They refuse since they believe the X-Men nearly got him killed in the explosion. Bobby comes downstairs wanting to leave with Beast and Logan. Bobby's mother already called the police and slams the door in Beast's face. Logan then kicks open the door and lets Bobby leave. He tells the parents to deal with their son being a mutant. They get in the MRD helicopter and fly off. As they do, Logan informs Bobby, and they three are the X-Men. Bobby then tells them that Kitty is heading towards Genosha on a ship that left that morning. On the bow of a large ship, Kitty stands there looking at an ad of Magneto and Genosha. Suddenly, the ad blows away, and she sees the helicopter with the X-Men. She jumps and phases aboard. The helicopter returns to the ruins of the Xavier Mansion and enters the hangar underneath the basketball court. They enter Beast's lab to find Rogue sitting there. Bobby and Kitty are happy to see her, but Logan hesitates. Beast takes the two younger X-Men to find new uniforms and lets Logan and Rogue talk. Rogue wants to return to the X-Men. She thought she was like the Brotherhood, but she is not an assassin. She tells him about the Brotherhood's plan to kill Kelly. Outside the manufacturing plant, the MRD are setting up guards everywhere. Warren III wonders why Kelly is still going through with the press conference. Warren II only says that it is vital, that if Kelly is attacked on live television, then the Registration Act is guaranteed. Warren III is horrified of the thought of using Kelly as bait. Outside, the Brotherhood are setting up, and Domino has a sniper rifle. Toad sees the X-Men's MRD helicopter and warns the others. Domino drops down and fires small pellets into the conference room, which begins destroying the room. Rogue knows that things are already starting, so Wolverine has Shadowcat phase the helicopter into the conference room. The X-Men, except for Beast, who is still flying, Iceman starts off with freezing the MRD's guns. Domino shoots again and hits the helicopter, causing it to go down. Unable to control it, Beast jumps down and tackles some bystanders, so when the helicopter crashes, Rogue turns to run, only to find a gun in her face. Warren III sneaks up behind the MRD guard and knocks him out. Warren III doesn't look too happy, so Rogue goes the other direction. Iceman covers the helicopter with ice, putting out the flames. Logan notices that none of the Brotherhood are there. A television camera catches the X-Men fighting the MRD guards. When one guard tries to shoot Wolverine, Shadowcat phases through him, grabs his weapon, and knocks him out with it. Beast proceeds to jump on guards, knocking them out. Wolverine slices a hole in the wall and gets them all out. Iceman seals the hole so that the MRD cannot follow. Wolverine figures out that the Brotherhood set up the X-Men to look like the attackers. They go back for Rogue, but Warren III pulls up in his limo, telling them to get in. Wolverine refuses, wanting to find Rogue, believing she is still in there. But Warren III tells them he saw her get out. They all get in the vehicle and drive off. In Beast's lab, the X-Men watch a broadcast of Kelly, who says that the president told him that the Mutant Registration Act will be signed tomorrow. Wolverine walks outside to find Warren III on the phone. He informs Wolverine that the MRD does not have Rogue and that she probably just ran off blaming herself. He then states that Wolverine's actions are exactly as what Charles Xavier would have done. That night, Avalanche overlooks the city outside the Brotherhood's hideout. Domino plays pool and knocks all the balls into the pockets at once. Rogue enters, the others congratulate her. She set up the X-Men and proved her loyalty to the Brotherhood. She finally walks in, looking quite happy. Construction workers, under the direction of Worthington Industries, are rebuilding the Xavier Mansion. Warren Worthington III is showing around Logan after using his father's money to do the rebuilding. Though Warren II thinks the mansion is for a regular prep school, the two discuss Rogue and her betrayal of the X-Men when Emma Frost appears at the door. Emma wants to join the X-Men, but Logan refuses as he already knows of her. She then promises to find Charles Xavier for them. As Warren III leaves, he tells Logan that he believes Emma, but Logan thinks she is working some angle. Meanwhile, Emma watches them out a nearby window. Beast, Bobby, and Kitty find Emma and Logan enters introducing her. Emma used to run the Massachusetts Academy, which was very similar to the Xavier Institute for Gifted Youngsters until it was shut down. She says it was because the students were constant targets of anti-mutant groups and constantly being taken away. She now misses being part of a team and came to them. Emma then offers to run Cerebro, which they cannot do without a telepath. Logan says it was destroyed, but Emma can read minds and knows its repairs are nearly finished, but he gets up and slashes them all to bits. A turret rises from the ground and shoots him into another wall. Logan climbs up to the control room and finds Forge hard at work. Logan tells him that he wants Forge to work on Cerebro again after having him work on the Blackbird and War Room too. Forge agrees to since it will help find Charles. After completing the repairs, Logan takes Emma to Cerebro. She sits down, but Logan warns her not to make him regret this. Forge tries to explain, but Emma already read his mind and knows what to do. She activates Cerebro and sees an island with a palace on it. Inside, she sees Xavier laying down. She turns it off and tells them Xavier is in Genosha with Magneto. Beast and Logan leave Cerebro. Beast proposes to contact Magneto and discuss things, but Logan blames Magneto for the explosion. Beast knows there's no evidence whatsoever to support the idea that Magneto caused the explosion. All Logan knows is that he has the professor, and that's all that matters. Logan returns to the rundown hotel where Scott Summers is staying, the television set still embedded in the wall. Scott hears a door open, and as soon as he can get up, Logan sticks his claws in Scott's face. Scott still refuses to listen to Logan until Logan says he knows where Xavier is. Shadowcat wakes him up wondering how he can sleep between the jet falling apart and the upcoming battle with Magneto. Iceman feels calm, thinking that Wolverine can take care of Magneto. Emma looks back to the seat behind her and sees Cyclops looking forward. She knows he wants to ask her about Jean, so she talks him into it. She knows Jean isn't on Genosha but could find her with time. But she states that Logan wants to get rid of Emma quickly and turns around. Cyclops turns and looks down at the ground. The Blackbird goes in low just over the water. They enter a fog bank that surrounds the island but doesn't cover it. Forge completes repairs on the stealth generator, and the Blackbird becomes invisible as it makes its approach towards Genosha. The Blackbird flies up to Magneto's palace and lands on a balcony. Shadowcat phases through the Blackbird and checks the surrounding area. When it's clear, the rest of the X-Men come out. With Iceman making a slide, Shadowcat phases the team to the level below. She then notes how the whole area is covered in iron, most certainly to Magneto's benefit. The team turns their comm links on and splits up. Most of the X-Men, such as Shadowcat and Beast, use stealth, while Cyclops simply blasts his way through. Emma tries her telepathy but cannot find Magneto or Xavier. One wall becomes covered in spikes, and he is thrown towards it but stops at the last second. He is now in the presence of the Master of Magnetism. Just then, Iceman freezes a wall from the other side, and Cyclops blasts his way in. He then fires several times at Magneto without success, as the villain simply stops it by lifting up pieces of the floor to block the beams. Magneto sends the floor piece towards him, but Cyclops dodges it, only to be struck by another piece and tied to the wall. Iceman hits Magneto from behind and throws some ice spears at him, but again he just blocks them with some metal. Iceman distracts him with some more spears while he makes a ice boomerang that hits his helmet from behind. Shadowcat and Emma land to attack. With his helmet off, Emma attacks Magneto's mind. Magneto uses Wolverine to knock Beast and Emma into a wall and ties them up. He then reassembles his helmet. Shadowcat knows that Magneto can't tie her up, but so does he. He just appeared on the Genoshan coastline sprawled on a rock a week before. Emma tells the others that Xavier has no brain activity. Magneto has been helping him, but Wolverine believes he was just keeping an eye on him, thinking Magneto is afraid of his old friend. Beast asks if they can take Xavier home with them, and Magneto agrees, and Xavier's place is with his children. Magneto then offers to let the X-Men stay in Genosha, but Wolverine refuses. Back at the mansion, the X-Men put Xavier in a special dome to help his condition. Wolverine promises to bring back Xavier no matter what when strange sounds are heard, which sounds like whispering. Beast and Wolverine recognize it as Xavier. Xavier does not remember who did this to him. Xavier then states that he is speaking from the future, where his coma lasted 20 years. Xavier then shows them the nightmarish future that he awoke to. Cities lie in ruin, helicopters crash, and fire rage out of control. Large humanoid robots fly and walk around searching for mutants. When asked how Xavier tells them that it was because the X-Men broke up and that by staying together they can prevent the nightmare. Xavier then charges Wolverine with leading the team. Upon hearing this, Cyclops gets angry and moves to leave. Xavier begs him to stay as they cannot win without him. The sun beats down on him before another man on a camel finds him and gives him water. The fallen man opens his eyes, revealing themselves to be completely black. He grabs the second man's face. At the Xavier mansion, Logan is sound asleep until Charles Xavier's voice from the future wakes him up. He gets up and heads towards the war room, where the present Xavier is being kept. Unbeknownst to him, he is being followed by Emma Frost, but she is locked out. Logan suddenly finds himself surrounded by White alongside a standing Xavier. Xavier explains that they are still at the Institute, but are talking on the astral plane. Xavier shows Logan the continent of Africa from high in Earth's atmosphere, where much of the coast and Madagascar is destroyed. Xavier explains that 20 years ago, in Logan's time, something terrible happened. Xavier takes him to the ground, which is a barren wasteland covered in deep crevices and dust tornadoes. He tells Logan that no one survived. When Logan asks, Xavier tells him that the former X-Man Storm did it. Wolverine doesn't believe that Storm would do such a thing, but Xavier says that she did, and it cost her life. Logan sees Emma and angrily asks how she got in. She explains that she just read his mind for the security codes. He throws her into an elevator to get her out of there, explaining that he won't need her help. In his lab, Beast is examining Africa but cannot find any abnormalities. Logan finds Emma and takes her to Cerebro. She says that she'll find Storm if Logan lets her stay on the team. Logan says she needs to continually earn her place and his trust. Tired of him, Emma goes to leave, but Logan relents, and Emma uses Cerebro. She scans hundreds of people in Africa before finding Ororo Monroe. In Africa, Ororo is using her powers to create a rainstorm to fill her tribe's reservoir. When she is done, she asks Abasi, the tribal leader, what she should do next. He tells her about the southern crops and a celebration in her honor to be held later on. At the mansion, Shadowcat is at Scott's room asking if he'll come along, but he doesn't open the door. Iceman walks by and reminds her that Logan said not to bother. But Shadowcat knows that the old Scott would have gone along. The two leave without him. In the hangar, Forge is polishing the Blackbird when the Beast, Emma, and Iceman come in. Since he just finished it, he doesn't want the team to take it out, let alone to Africa, so he asks them to be gentle. Wolverine claims that the first scratch is the most painful, so he makes 3 of them with his claws, so Forge can relax. Just then, Cyclops enters the hangar and boards the jet. The man on the camel walks up to a man with a boat, who opens her eyes to reveal solid blackness. In her mind, Ororo is confronted by a large creature who calls himself her former master. Abasi wonders what is wrong with Ororo as she is suddenly freaking out, so Abasi tells the people of the tribe to go to their homes. Ororo does not remember the creature. She then admits that she has a friend who says she is more than just a thief. When she refuses to reveal the friend's name, he enters her mind and learns that it is Xavier. He promises to make both pay when Xavier himself enters to defend Ororo. The two then battle on the astral plane. Ororo tells Abasi to run from the fires and flies up to create a storm to put them out. However, Abasi is confused as there are no fires. Ororo sees the entire surrounding areas engulfed in flames. Shadow King tells her to stop the fires using the full force of the elements before everything is destroyed. To do so, she creates a giant storm over the continent. Beast sees the storm on the Blackbird's monitors. Wolverine tells everyone to hang on while he dives the Blackbird right into the storm. Due to the rains, the unleashed waters rush through the tribe while the people climb the trees for safety. As the waters rise, they climb into boats and on top of their huts. The Blackbird screams through the sky above the tribe. However, Ororo sees a giant fireball and uses a tornado to try to put it out. Wolverine looks around, but the waters rage too wildly to swim through, so Iceman slides the team across. Shadow King taunts Ororo into increasing the storm. In addition to high winds, Ororo creates a hailstorm, pelting the X-Men. Wolverine slashes the ice shards as best he can while Cyclops blasts them out of his way. Shadowcat phases through them while Iceman creates a wall to protect himself and Beast. She gets out of the way and he makes another swing. She continues dodging his attacks and stabs him in the stomach. He again knocks her away and forms his hands into blades. Emma does the same and the two continue their battle. Shadow King forms a hammer and knocks her away. He forms 2 more axes and moves to attack her. Fortunately, he is beginning to shrivel up after being out of his body for so long. Emma taunts him by revealing that there's nobody around for him to infect. She then slices him in 2 with a long blade and he dissolves away. Ororo gets up as Emma returns to her body. The people of the tribe come out and thank the X-Men and Ororo. Wolverine smiles and gives a nod to Emma, who smiles back, acknowledging that she's earned her place on the team. Back at the mansion, Ororo visits Xavier. She tells Logan that she will stay with the X-Men so she can help make the world a better place for Xavier to wake up in. Magma is on the run from the MRD, sprinting down a road as they close in. In a moment of desperation, she transforms into a lava-like form, her body radiating intense heat that forces the surrounding traffic to screech to a halt. Just as things are about to escalate, Wolverine intervenes, rescuing her from the agents. To help control her unstable powers, he puts an inhibitor collar on her, one that was built by Forge to suppress mutant abilities. It works, calming her down. However, when Wolverine later asks for the collar back, Magma hesitates. She's afraid of losing control again, but eventually agrees and removes it, though not without some emotional weight. Elsewhere, Sybil Zane hires Gambit to steal that very same collar, seeing it as a valuable piece of tech. Gambit breaks into the X-Men's base and manages to take it, but Wolverine catches up to him. The two clash in a fast-paced fight, claws against cards, until Wolverine corners him. Gambit casually admits he's only in it for the payday. Without flinching, Wolverine burns the cash Gambit was paid with and ups the offer, double the amount if Gambit helps him track down who hired him in the first place. With a smirk, Gambit considers the new deal. News spreads that Nightcrawler was spotted aboard a ship headed for Genosha, accompanied by a group of fellow mutants, including Squid Boy, Vindaloo, Network, Shatter, Pixie, Feral, and others. Concerned for his safety, the X-Men begin a search to locate him. Meanwhile, during the voyage, the ship is ambushed at night by supposed pirates, who turn out to be Spiral and the Reavers. They're not after treasure, they're hunting for strong mutant fighters to deliver to Mojo's twisted arena. Chaos breaks out as the Reavers storm the ship. The crew grows anxious, noticing the ship is being steered off course from its destination. Despite the odds, Nightcrawler takes the lead in defending the others. Using his agility, teleportation, and sheer determination, he manages to outmaneuver the Reavers and drive them off, ensuring the safety of the mutant passengers. Soon after, Wolverine, Beast, Shadowcat, and Forge arrive, ready to bring Nightcrawler home. But Kurt refuses. He tells them he's staying, not out of defiance, but because the mutants on this journey need someone to protect them. He wants to make sure they reach Genosha safely before he even thinks about returning to the mansion. In a follow-up to Hulk vs. the MRD's pursuit of Wolverine, draws the attention of Nick, Fury, and S.H.I.E.L.D., who step in to shut things down, though not without strings attached. Fury approaches Wolverine with a proposition: fight the Hulk one more time in exchange for keeping the X-Men's identities and the Xavier Institute off the radar. Wolverine reluctantly agrees, but it doesn't take long before he suspects there's more to this mission than Fury is revealing. His suspicions are confirmed when he and the Hulk cross paths with a terrifying new threat, the Wendigo. As the Hulk goes berserk battling the savage creature, Wolverine uncovers the truth. There's not just one Wendigo, but multiple. Wolverine holds them off in a brutal fight, while Bruce Banner frantically works on a cure to reverse their monstrous transformation. Once the chaos settles, Fury confirms Wolverine's worst suspicion. The Wendigo outbreak was the result of a failed super soldier experiment. Another covert government project gone wrong. Disgusted, Wolverine walks away, leaving Fury to deal with the aftermath, and with an angry Hulk. Nitro, a mutant with devastating explosive powers, is broken out of MRD custody by the Brotherhood after Toad, desperate not to be left behind again, gives up his location in hopes of proving his worth. Nitro isn't your typical villain. He's terrified of his own abilities and wants nothing more than to be left alone. But with the Brotherhood pushing him toward Genosha, and a future vision from Professor X revealing that Nitro's powers could one day wipe out half the mutant population, the X-Men race to intervene. As the Brotherhood tries to convince Nitro to join them, Psylocke steps in, returning a favor to Quicksilver, who once freed her from MRD custody. Though her comic counterpart leans villainous, here she walks the line, trying to help Nitro gain control over his unstable powers. She even gets a moment to pet the dog, helping a mother and her kids out of a petty parking dispute using her telepathic tricks. But the Brotherhood's efforts to sway Nitro are more about using him than helping him. Domino delivers a deadpan aside glance at Quicksilver's grammar during the mission, but things escalate quickly once the X-Men arrive, much to Quicksilver's disbelief. Despite everyone's best efforts, Nitro's condition proves too dangerous. The X-Men managed to stop him from triggering a massive explosion that would have devastated Genosha, essentially rewriting a grim future. But their victory is bittersweet. To keep him from unintentionally killing anyone, they have no choice but to return him to the MRD. Scared and broken, Nitro accepts his fate, locked away in a reinforced cell, unable to live a normal life. Nightcrawler arriving at Genosha alongside a group of rescued mutant refugees. At first glance, Genosha appears to be the paradise Magneto promised, a peaceful haven where mutants live freely without fear of persecution. Magneto, playing the gracious host, even has his daughter Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, give Nightcrawler a guided tour. As Kurt explores the island, he's surprised to see mutants thriving in what seems to be a functioning utopia. But beneath the cheerful surface, darker truths start to emerge. Nightcrawler eventually discovers that Magneto rules with an iron fist, and those who dare to speak out against him are imprisoned. It isn't long before Kurt finds himself siding with the oppressed and questioning the so-called paradise he's been shown. Back at the X-Mansion, trouble brews as Mystique infiltrates the school, disguising herself as Angel to gather intel. However, Wolverine's sharp instincts and even sharper nose alert him to the presence of an imposter. Later, just when it seems like Nightcrawler has managed to escape Genosha and return safely to the mansion, teleporting rapidly across the sea with no rest in between, he's welcomed by Wolverine only to be sucker-punched. The twist? It's not Wolverine at all, but Mystique once again. She captures Nightcrawler and hauls him back to Genosha, where Magneto has a specially designed prison waiting just for him. Wolverine returns to a remote location from his past, haunted by fragmented memories of a fiery barn and the image of a terrified young girl, Christy, staring at him as he stands over the body of her dead father. Determined to uncover the truth, Logan searches for clues to piece together what really happened that night. As he digs deeper, he crosses paths with Sabretooth, who cryptically mentions a target named Christoph Nord, a man he calls a maverick. Wolverine eventually tracks down Nord, only to discover that he's still alive, suffering from memory loss, and now operating under the name Maverick as part of Weapon X. Meanwhile, Sabretooth leaves a trail of trouble, including knocking out Christy with a tranquilizer dart when she gets too close to the truth. Back at the X-Mansion, Rogue returns to warn Wolverine about something important, but he's already gone. She shares her concern with Beast, telling him not to trust Logan. Logan. When Beast later relays this to Wolverine, Logan ironically tells Beast not to trust Rogue either. Beast, caught between the two, remarks dryly that Rogue said the same thing about him. The episode ends with more questions than answers, as Logan's memories remain hazy and the lines of trust grow even blurrier. When Scott Summers catches a glimpse of one of Mr. Sinister's marauders lurking in the city, fueled by desperation and unresolved grief, Scott abandons all caution and launches into a relentless manhunt, tracking down and confronting members of the Marauders one by one. His blind determination leads him into brutal clashes, first with Blockbuster, then with a male version of Arclight, and even Multiple Man, who's portrayed here as a villain despite his heroic comic book history. While Vertigo chooses to flee rather than fight him, Cyclops charges on, driven by the belief that Sinister holds the key to Jean's fate. Cyclops could be reunited with Jean in the afterlife. It's not a direct threat, but it's enough to push Scott over the edge. In the end, Cyclops gets no answers, only more doubt. He doesn't touch the coffee he ordered earlier, symbolizing how consumed he's become by his grief and obsession. And while his suspicion seemed justified on the surface, it's revealed that Sinister wasn't responsible after all, making Scott's reckless vendetta feel tragically hollow. Magneto launches a series of coordinated strikes on mutant detention centers, aiming to free imprisoned mutants while advancing his war against humanity. Typically seen as a hero in other versions, is shown here as one of Magneto's loyal acolytes. Meanwhile, Senator Kelly had secretly been working with Magneto, allowing the MRD to deport mutants to Genosha. That alliance falls apart once Magneto discovers that Kelly has been hiding the most powerful mutants in secure facilities, unwilling to hand them over. Quicksilver lashes out at Rogue for spying, and later shows no hesitation in fighting women, slamming Emma Frost's face into a pillar to knock her out. Magneto confronts his son for nearly bringing an unstable mutant to Genosha. In a major turn, Rogue reveals she was never truly with the Brotherhood. She had been undercover the entire time after reading dark thoughts from Toad's mind. She even tried to warn the X-Men earlier, but Logan wasn't around, so she gave up. Juggernaut is taken down by Tilde in one blow, showcasing just how dangerous she is. And while Rogue returns to the X-Men, Senator Kelly, now fully convinced that war is coming, prepares for battle, just as Magneto intended. Nightcrawler and Wanda are unexpectedly kidnapped by Spiral and thrown into Mojo's bizarre underwater dome known as the Hunting Grounds. There, they're forced into a twisted survival game broadcast for Mojo's entertainment, where their enemies are the cybernetic Reavers. At first, Nightcrawler plays into the dashing hero role, teleporting himself and Wanda repeatedly to dodge attacks and keep the danger at bay, but things take a dark turn when Mojo introduces his special guest hunter, a mind-controlled Wolverine. With Mojo's creepy tech forcing Logan into a permanent wide-eyed, toothy grin, Wolverine becomes an unstoppable, shirtless menace, clearly snatched from sleep and thrown into combat. Despite Wolverine's savage attacks, Nightcrawler eventually manages to remove the mind control gear, freeing Logan and turning the tide of Mojo's sick game. Late at night, Logan rides his motorcycle back to the X-Mansion, but something feels off the moment he arrives. As he steps off the bike, he sniffs the air. Something's wrong. Instinctively, he pops his claws and steps inside. The place is eerily quiet. Suddenly, he gets a vision. Bobby is being chased through the mansion by ninja throwing stars. He freezes them just in time, but a stealthy ninja sneaks up behind him and knocks him out. The vision fades, and Logan notices a puddle of melted ice where Bobby had stood. He moves deeper into the mansion and sees another vision. This time, Emma Frost descending the stairs as ninja stars come flying toward her. In the kitchen, Logan finds a mess and more signs of struggle. Another vision hits him. Beast is ambushed by a ninja and goes down hard. Kitty, sitting nearby, barely reacts before she's hit with knockout gas too. She phases through the table as she loses consciousness. The chaos continues. Logan sees Storm blasting two ninjas out of a window with a gust of wind, but she's caught from behind and taken out. Scott takes down a ninja with an optic blast, only to be knocked down by another right in the kitchen. Then, Logan hears something, muffled, human. He follows the sound and finds Rogue, tied to a chair with a sack over her head. He quickly frees her. Rogue, dazed but alert, tells him the X-Men have all been kidnapped. One of the attackers told her Logan would never see them again, unless he agreed to fight him tomorrow. As Logan tries to make sense of it, he sees the face of the one responsible. Rogue asks who he is, and Logan answers grimly, Silver Samurai. Cyclops is overwhelmed by visions of Jean Grey during a heated battle and ends up unconscious in the infirmary. Troubled and emotionally exhausted, he begins to question whether he still belongs with the X-Men. Emma Frost, hoping to ease his pain, offers to erase Jean from his memories. Scott hesitates but eventually agrees, allowing Emma to dive into his mind and revisit his most vulnerable moments. What follows is a deep journey into Scott's past. Emma watches as he wakes up from a 2-year coma, confused and frightened, only to be greeted by Professor Xavier, who offers him purpose and direction. She sees him meeting Jean for the first time, the spark between them instant and undeniable. Then comes the moment the original 5 X-Men, Scott, Jean, Beast, Angel, Iceman, face off against Magneto in one of their earliest missions. The flashbacks feel nostalgic but are also emotionally intense, revealing just how deeply Jean shaped Scott's life. However, there's an inconsistency. Bobby, Iceman, who was clearly shown to be 18 during the present-day events of the series, is somehow part of the original team during these early flashbacks. This creates a timeline discrepancy that's never explained. Back in the present, Emma reaches the final memory. A painful one, Jean's final moments. It's then revealed that the explosion that destroyed part of the X-Mansion was caused not by an external threat, but by the Phoenix Force itself, emerging from within Jean. The truth hits Scott hard. He realizes that forgetting Jean isn't the answer. He wakes up, no longer looking to run, but with a renewed sense of clarity, even if his heart is still heavy. Much to the dismay of the Scarlet Witch, Gambit charms Polaris, who unknowingly aids him in his task. Wolverine and Nightcrawler head to Genosha to prevent Gambit from stealing Magneto's helmet. Though Gambit seems attracted to Polaris, he leaves her at the end with Magneto's helmet. Polaris gets infuriated and disables Gambit's getaway and takes the helmet back. Gambit is then stranded in the ocean, begins to lose control of her immensely powerful telepathic and telekinetic abilities while being treated at a hospital, triggering a wave of psychic energy. Emma picks up on this surge through Cerebro and immediately locates her. She and Scott head to the hospital in hopes of bringing Jean safely back to the X-Mansion. However, before they can leave, Archangel ambushes them and captures both Scott and Jean, taking them to Mr. Sinister. There, Sinister reveals his twisted plan, to extract and combine their genetic codes, believing the fusion of their DNA will create the most powerful force the world has ever seen. As the Marauders prepare to eliminate the two, the X-Men arrive just in time and manage to rescue them. But relief is short-lived. Emma suddenly appears to betray the team, and the Hellfire Club storms in to take Jean, who has now fallen unconscious. In the shadows, Mr. Sinister hands the stolen DNA to his true master, Apocalypse, believing Emma had a role in Jean's abduction. Wolverine locks her in a holding cell at the mansion, but Cyclops, unwilling to believe she's betrayed them, releases her and asks for her help in locating Jean. As they begin to uncover the truth, it's revealed that the Hellfire Club had discovered Jean was possessed by the Phoenix Force. Their goal isn't to save her, it's to rip the divine entity from her mind and harness its limitless power for themselves. While the X-Men face this crisis, Magneto sets his own plans into motion. He has secretly replaced Senator Kelly with Mystique in a bold attempt to manipulate the US government and provoke an attack on Genosha. Meanwhile, far in the future, Professor X is captured by Sentinels who have developed their own version of Cerebro, using it to hunt down every mutant left on Earth. Emma learns the Hellfire Club's true intentions. They don't want to save Jean, but control the Phoenix Force for their own domination. Realizing the danger, she turns against them and joins Cyclops in a desperate fight to free Jean from their grasp. Meanwhile, in Genosha, Magneto's scheme unfolds. Engineered to gain sympathy for mutants, provides the perfect excuse for war. With Mystique still disguised as Senator Kelly and imprisoned on the island, Magneto uses her position to secretly reprogram the Sentinels to target humans, escalating tensions to the brink. In the dystopian future, Wolverine and X-23 break into the Sentinel stronghold and rescue Professor X and the remaining future X-Men. Now reunited, they launch a counteroffensive against Master Mold in hopes of ending the machine-dominated future once and for all. The X-Men, MRD and SHIELD, join forces in an all-out battle against Magneto's reprogrammed Sentinels. While chaos unfolds on Genosha, Scott is confronted by the Inner Circle, who drop a devastating truth. Emma Frost and the Stepford Cuckoos were behind the chain of events that led to the mansion's destruction, Xavier's 20-year coma, and the extraction of the Phoenix Force from Jean. Though Emma's plan had originally been to locate and destroy the Phoenix before it could mature, the Cuckoos, now fully possessed by the Phoenix, follow Sebastian Shaw's command to wipe out the Sentinels, Genosha, and anyone in their path, including the X-Men. Realizing too late the horror of what's been set in motion, as Magneto is defeated and pleads with Quicksilver to return him to Genosha, Emma chooses redemption over survival. In a final act of sacrifice, she gives her life to destroy the Phoenix Force. With the dust settling, Scarlet Witch and Polaris lose their faith in Magneto, no longer seeing Genosha as his rightful domain. Scarlet Witch reassures Quicksilver that he will always be welcome, but their father's reign is over. With Blink's help, Magneto and Quicksilver are teleported away. Back at the Xavier Institute, a message from the future brings both relief and dread. Professor X confirms that the Sentinel-controlled future has been averted, but it has been replaced by something even worse, the Age of Apocalypse. As the camera pans over a preserved Xavier's mansion in this new future, a towering high-tech pyramid looms. Standing atop it are Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister, and a one-eyed version of Cyclops, ready to usher in a new and terrifying era. So that will be it from us. If you enjoyed the video, let us know which character was your favorite. Also, do not forget to leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for similar content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next one.